Mopar people? Welcome back to the channel. I'm JustMoparJoe. I got a box here I'm going to start cutting into. Let's check it out. The outside says Audio Dynamics. It is definitely heavy. Try to figure out a weight on it somewhere. Sorry. The neighborhood dogs got into it. Try to chew through it. So see that side too? Crazy. I'll just stop talking and start cutting. Y'all will like this. So I've had a little bit of evolution of my thought process on my Dart Sport. I was going to build that 383 for it, and you saw that I pulled the head. I had a pretty bad ring groove. It's going to need board, need new pistons. Then I think I would go ahead and rebalance it. I got new Edelbrock heads ordered for it. And I got a hydraulic roller cam currently ordered. That stuff's back ordered right now for like, I ordered it back in March maybe. So the head should be here mid-September, they say. That's the current estimation. He said this thing's packed. But if you'll remember, I had a parts trip to my buddy Rick's house, pretty close to mine actually, and I picked up a bare 400 block. Now it's free this way. So I figured if I gotta buy pistons anyway, I might as well build a 400. That box looks nice. I think he said he used a whole roll of packing. This is a crankshaft that Aaron bought online. The guy told him online that it is a 383 crankshaft. 383 forged crankshaft. That's what he said. Well, come to find out, it is more than a 383 forged crankshaft. It started life as a Mopar Performance 440 crankshaft. The mains and rods have both been turned 10 and 10, and the mains are now ready to fit into a 400. So this is actually it's now a stroker crankshaft turned down for a 400. And you'll notice it's definitely not a factory crank, all the Mallory metal that was added to it. But beyond that, this is 8 holes. And I want to say there were some earlier engines that had the 8 holes, but 440 cranks that I know of did not. Y'all let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But it looks pretty good. I think it could stand to be polished. He did have it checked out for me at his machine shop. I'm gonna probably bring this to my bud Ed and have him look it over, and he'll balance my combination for me. But the 383 that was in my Dart Sport is now going to be a 400 block with this stroker crank. All we need to do is figure out what is the stroke of this stroker crank. That was a fun time by all. I'm going to save my bag, and I'm going to get this lubed up a little bit, be sure it doesn't rust any. But I appreciate Aaron shipping that out to me. This will definitely be a budget build stroker, but it's going to be right. I'm not going to halfway do it by any means. I got my 400 block over there, and I've got some had some bearings I had dreamed about dropping this in. The block's pretty dirty, but I was going to clean up the main saddles, just kind of push my bearings in, put this in, be sure, see if it spin, and then I might can check the stroke on it then. Silly me, I wanted to compare the sizes of this 400 crank. If you remember, I got this 400 crank from Rick not long ago with that 400 block. It's really not bad. There's a little bit of scarring. I wiped those two journals, the front and the rear for the mains. But I think this crank might actually would just polish and be good. If you wanted a 400 external balance crank, it'd be good to go. It is a cast crank. You'll see I've already cut my finger on these very sharp edges of it. But I've got here my micrometer, and I'm just going to check, compare that to the other size. So going on her here, these are not my new micrometers. They're a little bit older set, but I think they still get the job done. I'm going to go opposite of my holes. And pull. There we go. Hopefully you can see us here. So we are at 2 inches. I would call that 2.625. 2.625. And let me try that front one now. On the 400 crank. Right there. Slip it off easy. And it is just slightly over. So half of a thousandth more. So 625. What is that? 62525? I believe you'd call that. So we'll say 625. Now I'll go to the rear on my new screw over crank. Going right here. Got it wiped. Just back off a little bit. It is smaller. We were told it was turn 10, so here we go. So we are 615. 2.615, and like I said, almost half a thousand. Probably not. It just, this could have got a little bit loose as I was pulling that off. I'll try this front one here. It's kind of nice to have a factory part there to compare. Open her up just a little bit. Nice and centered. There we go. 2.616. About the same. So within a thousandth. Pretty nice. I can do these rod journals next. Right there. 1, 2, 3. 2.375 is what I would call that. 2.375. And if I go opposite of these holes here, hopefully you can see me. 2.365 on the money. So it has been 10 and 10 under compared to the stock 400 crank. My bearings, this MS876P-10 Clevites, should work for the mains. I may get that tested today here in just 1 second. Alright, I took a can of John Wilburn's brake cleaner that he left here for me. Cleaned all those main saddles everywhere the bearing goes, dropped the new bearings in. I went through 2 sections or 2 different stages of preliminary wiping. Then I blew it all out with my blowgun. Then I came through, sprayed and wiped each one individually, put my bearings in, and now I've got the bearings lubed with just a 50-50 Lucas oil mix. You know I like that. I'm going to go ahead and drop my new crank in. You'll notice the oil holes are down. I saw an episode of Graveyard Cards once where Mark Warman put those up towards the cap. I'm sure that engine lasted a long time. Surely it had a long, happy life. Nah, Smells pretty nice. Alright. I think I'm going to throw on my just a thrust bearing cap and a bearing, and that way my plan is to measure, see how far that stroke is going out from the edge of the block and then closest to the block. See what the stroke is on this crank. It did not have any numbers. It's got markings, but so here's what I got. I just wrapped a very thin piece of masking tape around that journal. I have the crank where it can turn over in the block now. I took a piece of angle iron here and bolted it to the deck of the block, and I just have it extending out into the bore this way. Maybe you can see that, like that. It gives me a point of measurement, like a reference. So now I'm going to take my tape measure, like this, and I'm going to slide it up through here. I will lay it on the same spot of my angle here that sticks out. It doesn't matter that it sticks out. All I'm doing is comparing two reference points. So I'm going to slide it up in the bore as far as I can until it hits the journal up here. So there's the journal up there where it's touching, and I'm going to roll that crankshaft until it gives me the largest number on my tape measure. So right there I am a little over 12. I come back, see how it got longer there, or shorter. Let me extend it some more. There we go. So right there, extend, extend, extend. That is it. That would be 12 and 3/16. So 12 and 3/16. I'll show you. Roll it around till the journal's at the very bottom, or it would actually be top dead center. And I will replace my tape measure and see what we got. So we had 12 and 3/16. Roll it, go the way. Right there is it. And let's see, that is 8 and a 16th. So if we go 8 and a 16th, go back the other way, 12 and 3/16. Yep, so 12 and 3/16 minus 8 and a 16th. So here's my math worked out. 12 and 3/16 minus 8 and 1/16. Obviously that was 2/16. 2/16 is an eighth. So 4 and an eighth, which is 4.125. I know my measurements could be off just a shade, so I went ahead and looked up. These are the popular stroker sizes from 440 Source, and just kind of did their rough measurement over here. So 4.125 is most likely the 4.15 or 4.25. It's one of those two. So what I'm going to end up doing, 125. I am going to carry this in to Mr. Ed and have him check it for me. I just wanted kind of a rough estimate. I believe the 4.15 is the most popular. So if you look here, that would be the 500 stroker for a 400, which may be kind of what they turned this crank into here. So anyway, that's kind of a rude, kind of a crude system of measurement, but I thought I'd bring you along for it. Some people would say don't do that out there like that, you know, but I cleaned every surface before I stuck that crank in. The crank's got to be cleaned and polished before it's used anyway. But yeah, journal's all checked out good. The throws are small and nice. They fit the block well. There's no nowhere that looks like it might even be close to rubbing, so that's nice. It's really pretty lightweight crankshaft compared to this 400 crank. I carried this one over here. I was like, man, that sucker's heavy. But that one's a little lighter and much nicer. It's got a bunch of metal in it. Whole bunch of metal. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. None there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 of those discs of Mallory welded in. So let me know what you think about my new crank. I think it's pretty cool. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you next. Alright, so we're going to try this one more time. Get a little bit more accuracy. Joe and I have been looking at this and studying it. We don't have the correct tools. That's okay. We're going to get really close. So he is currently polishing the combination square, so it'll be nice and shiny. I have a very, very, very fine leaded pencil, mechanical pencil, and we're going to measure this and see what we come up with. The center of the ruler is on the radius of the crankshaft.
Gotta do it for the other side.
I can see it right there. It's square between here and here. On our mark right there. I'll make a line. Okay. See what it shows.
I see it. I can see it just fine.
Booyah.
Okay. Now let's move it. Okay, turn it off.
Okay. Now that one's going up.
That's going to be close.
Okay.
Well, we need to see what's the highest first. About there, right? Look good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll mark back.
Okay. Can you tilt it just a little bit? Yeah. So there's a mark there.
My way.
Oh, sorry. And a mark there. Difference between that and that. Let's go find it.
Clean. Clean. 0.
How you like that?
Do it.
It's 4.156.
Could have made it better if you want me to.
So our crank must be a 4.15.
Okay.
So the deal is we are within 6 thousandths?
You're within
6.5 thousandths.
within 6.5 thousandths, yes.
So
Using a fairly inaccurate measurement, but gives us a high degree of confidence that we really do have a 4.15 stroke.
okay. That's it.